Welcome back, everyone. Today is going to be a different episode, a weird episode. I am actually still on my wheel, so my mouse movements might be a little jerky. We just got finished with the Drag and Drive event. Had a great time, super fun. I don't know if this episode's going to be coming out after that or before that, but either way, we're going to keep moving forward, and I wanted to go ahead and get an episode in on the wheel since it's all set up still. Let me first walk you through everything that's going on in the garage, what the plan is. We have, I think, a few new vehicles that you might not have seen in some builds that we're gonna get started on. And then we're gonna head to West Coast because it's time to do that big tuning shop idea episode that I wanted to do, gosh, back in early January. And honestly, this episode's gonna be kind of weird. I don't know how it's gonna finish. Normally I try to predict these things, but who knows? It's gonna be a pretty fun adventure. So let's get started. Nothing new is with these vehicles, our trailer and truck. They've been sitting here the entire time waiting for a rock crawler. I want to build a rock crawler, and I want to tow it to the rock crawling and go do rock crawling events all over the Gap. However, I don't have a rock crawler yet, or the money for it, so that's the whole thing's on pause. We have this truck. I just bought this because it looked cool, and it had an ATV on the back. It doesn't look the greatest, but it's an ATV, and so I'm hoping to turn this into a trail truck, and then I want to take both of our trail rigs out on the trail. So we have this Procyon here. This is complete. I ended up having to get a whole new one. I had to get an off-road model. For some reason, every time I put it on this off-road bumper, the game would crash. So I was probably doing something wrong with the part stuff. But this is finished. Really, it's just an off-road Procyon, pretty stock with bronze rims, some all-terrain tires, and a metallic green paint job. And I want to take these two on the trail and kind of put them against each other, see how they do. It's not going to be for this episode because this truck still needs some work to turn it from being a street truck to a trail truck. We might buy a third vehicle for that test. That might be its own episode. And then we have this Talon. Now this is a Ravix Talon that we bought, meaning it is a manual. There's only a few manuals out there for the Ravix. This is the rear-wheel drive model, and it has some mileage on it. The paint's a little faded, but my plan is, since we're gonna be doing all the Ravix stuff at the tuning shop, is we gotta build the base model, the brand model per se, the one that we're going to store and give to customers. And so first we got to build it into what we want. And so today we're going to do a little bit of that. We might get started on the truck, we might not, but either way, let me go ahead and drive this down to the back of the shop, or back of the house garage, where we'll take it into the lower garage. That's where we're going to work on this truck. Then we'll do the Ravix in the front. Now there is one more vehicle I need to show you guys. This is very weird on wheel. I'm not used to doing wheel stuff. I'm going to try to do third person on wheel too. I do really like being in first person on wheel. It just feels way more immersive. However, we're going to stick to third person as much as possible because I think you're going to enjoy that more. We have our UTV. So this thing, it came, when we brought it here, it was on the, what do you call it? The, like transport tires. And so I went ahead and put some all-terrains, not even all-terrains, these are some mud boggers, some swampers. I think they were 39s, and they look really cool. However, as soon as I drove it, I broke an axle. So honestly, this thing's giving me so many issues. There's not really a lot of mud events to do right now in the Gap. I might just kind of convert this back to stock and do it for some smaller off-road racing. Maybe make it good for jumping, but overall, I think I'm going to lose the portals on it, lower it, put some reasonable tires on it, and just you know, make it to where it's enjoyable again. Every time I drive this thing, it kind of seems to break something. Either way, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of work to this truck just because I want to do something to it. Then we're going to play with the Ravix and hopefully get that into a dream build situation. Oh, I hit the toolbox. Okay, we did some work to the truck. And I'll be honest, I don't like it. Let me explain. I went ahead and changed up the suspension because I found these really cool off-road, but off-road air suspension. So I thought, okay, cool, you can have air ride on it. And so that means we can go up. Oh, just kidding, we can go down. We can go back up. However, it's like per corner of the vehicle, and I don't really like that. I want it to be either all up or all down. And notice when I go down, the back goes down first, and then the front. But then if you keep going down, bad things starts to happen. The bed gets damaged. Eventually, the rear suspension and drive shaft will break, and then you go back up, and the rear doesn't always come back up, or nothing comes back up. Oh, okay, the front's rising. So I thought it'd be kind of cool. Oh, the rear didn't break totally this time. That's good. Either way, it's kind of cool, but I don't know. I don't think it's really what we're going to need, because we need all the height we can get. So I think I might go back to just kind of a very simple lifted suspension. It's not going to be hugely lifted. Maybe I'll put lockers in it. I want to be competitive, but I don't want to spend a ton of money on it either. Maybe I'll look at the prices for both vehicles and try to come up with like a, 60K challenge or something like that. But either way, let's put this away. I do want to go and drive the Ravix. So I realize is I don't think anybody, not everybody, but I don't think many people have heard what this Ravix Talon really sounds like. And since we have one, before I modify it, let's go for a little drive and kind of enjoy it for what it is now. As you can hear, it sounds a little different than the normal base model. And honestly, it sounds really good. However, what we're going to be putting on it is going to sound even better. So let's go for a little cruise and talk about some of the comments you guys left regarding some of the questions I had in the last video. All right, let's go ahead and pull it out of the driveway. Now, my main question in the last video was, what do you guys want to see next in the Gap? And I was quite surprised by some of the responses. Of course, some people want to see a little bit of a racetrack, but what I was surprised at is a lot of people want to see hill climb stuff. And I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Are you meaning kind of the off-road rock bouncer hill climb stuff? Or are you talking more of like a sand climb? Or, a smooth but foresty, so not sand but dirt hill climb? I was really intrigued that so many people want hill climbing. I mean, I enjoy it. I think that's really fun. And so maybe that's something that we do, maybe a longer hill climb stuff. However, a lot of people also mentioned rally stuff. Now, there's some rally things in the Gap, but if you think about it, if you're a rally enthusiast, this would be a great map for it, and there's just not a lot of trails for that. So, I don't know, having only 3 rally events might not be enough to really fill that niche. So maybe we'd be looking to adding some more rally stuff. And then there's some thoughts about, other ways to make money, some more businessy side things, and I have thought about some things for that. So either way, I just wanted to say thanks for all the feedback. A lot of really good ideas were left, and overall it's good to see what the majority want. Now that we're on asphalt, let me go ahead and open this up a little bit. One thing that's nice about wheel is everything's so much smoother. If you do want to know what kind of wheel setup I'm on, all that stuff should be in the description. But I did see some questions about kind of performance, specifically about, the graphics card I have and whatnot. I have a 5070 Ti, and I'll be honest, even my 3070 did just fine. A lot of people think that you need a really good graphics card and such. These roads are really narrow. But that's really just not the case with Beam. Beam is an absolute CPU-hungry monster of a game. I'd say always the first 2 upgrades you should look into doing is RAM. Unfortunately, RAM prices are crazy right now, but really fast RAM is going to get you the most gains in BeamNG. And then second is going to be a really good CPU, and the more cores, the better. And because the game runs so much better on Vulkan, I would shoot for an AMD CPU that actually can handle Vulkan a little bit better. Honestly, this whole computer I built is purely for BeamNG. I built it with BeamNG only in mind, and I cannot be happier. I can run in my other profiles. I run over 25 vehicles with Career, and often I have it on by accident. I forget there's that many. So definitely, if that's something you're looking into, if you're looking into a computer rebuild or wanting to upgrade, just start with RAM and CPU. Those 2 things are going to give you the most gains. I've never maxed out a GPU on BeamNG. I might have maxed out my 3070, but even then, a 50 series, maybe a 5070, you'll probably be fine running Ultra. But other than that, let's go ahead and make a U-turn somewhere up here. Maybe after this roamer, we're just going to have to awkwardly... Actually, here's some grass. The other thing I want to ask you guys is, do you want to see more wheel content? I do enjoy it. I drive differently, and honestly, it makes the lower horsepower cars more fun. I would say my clutch work is a little bit better, other than that one little big blip of RPM. And really, the Ravix feels so good on my manual shifter. So yeah, let me know if you want to see more wheel content. It might be sporadic, because I don't really keep the wheel out because it gets in the way of working. So on a day like this where I'm not doing a whole lot of work but doing more recordings, it might be good to bring out the wheel if you guys want to see that kind of stuff. Let's head back to the garage. I want to go ahead and make some modifications. I don't think I want to do... My goal here is to not completely overhaul the vehicle. There is a new engine for it, and I do want to... I really like that engine. However, you can get the same sound by, or a similar sound at least, by changing the exhaust, at least for now. There's been a lot of internal discussion on the Ravix. A lot of things are changing. There's going to be some big updates here coming soon for it. And by the time this video comes out, honestly, I think the beta version I'm using right now will be out for public release for free. Not obviously not the release of the car, but the public beta that we try to do. Again, if you want to support the people that are making the Ravix, the RLS side of the team that does vehicles, feel free to support them in Patreon. That link will be in the description. Let's go ahead and get back to the house and get to work on this thing. Oh, don't wreck it, don't wreck it. Oh man, it's hard to turn back fast. All right, here we go. Oh no. Okay, we have some repairs to do before we before we just buy new parts. Dang it. Oh, I can't turn. I can't turn. Okay. Yep, that steering was done. Let's get it towed back. All right, the Ravix is done. Really didn't make a whole lot of changes to it, mainly because I was kind of shocked by the prices of some of these parts. I'm going to start this up. You'll notice the engine does sound a little different. But ultimately, this isn't the final sound I was going for. I'll go ahead and pull out of the garage here. I do enjoy the sound more. I went ahead and painted the car, went with a brighter red, just to kind of make it a little different. We went with the Cup 2R tires, so it'll be a little bit more meat on there and grip a little bit better, especially as we go through the mountain roads. But ultimately, we went with the ATR exhaust system. So without giving too much lore background, mainly because the lore background isn't finished yet, but ATR is effectively an aftermarket, I guess, aftermarket company in our eyes that is working on ATR Ravix vehicles and other vehicles coming soon too. And so has a really cool exhaust header that I can't really show right now. Maybe when we're back in West Coast, I'll take off the fender so you can see. But it's a really good looking exhaust. It adds some horsepower and sounds really good. We also went ahead and added a camshaft. We went with a Sport Stage 3 camshaft. So we're up to 615 horsepower, which is nothing to sneeze at. But I also don't want this car to be undrivable. You know, I want it to just be enjoyable. So we're going to head to West Coast. We almost have enough money for the final upgrade where we make the tuning shop our personal tuning shop, and we can actually save our own configs as kits and then apply those kits to any vehicles, including our cars or customer cars. So we're going to head back, do that, and then we're going to get to work on some of those Ravixes we've been saving up in our tuning shop. So let's go shoot through the gap, enjoy the drive, not wreck it. We're just going to take our time and then head to West Coast, work on the tuning shop, and go from there. Alright, back in West Coast, we are pulling up to the drag strip because I know we have one Ravix that needs a drag time, and ultimately, we need to know what these upgrades actually do for the time itself. This is a rear-wheel drive Ravix Talon, which means if we get a Ravix Talon all-wheel drive, well, converting it to rear-wheel drive doesn't make a whole lot of sense and is probably pretty expensive. If we get a base model, we could throw all these parts on it. However, the rear bumper would not continue over, so we'd have to manually change the bumper over every time we work on a base model, or do a whole new kit for that one as well. Either way, we got to see what this thing will run. We've spent about, I think, 12 or 13 grand in upgrades on this, so this is a great low-level segment. And I think the low-level Ravixes, they're looking for, you know, 9 or 10s, low 10s. So if we can get a low 10 out of this, we're in good shape. Let me go ahead and turn off traction control. We're gonna run off the 2-step here. That should be fine. And we'll just see how this thing launches. We could probably leave on a higher RPM. Let's just see how this goes. Here we go. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, okay, that's weird. Here we go. Not my best shifts. I mean, a 10.6, that's not bad. Kind of hope for a little bit more. Oh, gotta keep the hand on the wheel. 137. We could probably squeeze a little bit more out of that, but honestly, we might need to just throw more power into this. That might be the best option. I don't know. I don't want to go too crazy. We could probably leave a little harder. We did get a 137 on the 60 foot, which is pretty good. Either way, let's go finally check in with the tuning shop, see where we're at financially, if we can even buy the personal upgrade yet, and then see what kind of Ravix upgrade, or what kind of Ravix jobs have come through for us to work on. All right, pulling in our nice shiny Ravix Talon, the I guess the demo car per se. Sorry if you hear squeaking, that is my brake pedal. I need to add some lubricant to it, I guess. Go ahead and check out the tuning shop now. Okay, we have 3 Ravixes in queue. Let's take a look here. We have 2 Talon all-wheel drives and a regular base model. That base model wants a 10.4. Okay. And then we have 2 Talons. Wow, one wants a minute and 6 seconds on the short track. That's really fast. And the other Talon wants an 8-second drag strip. Also really fast. Okay, we have our work cut out for us. You know, see, we got 159 grand in the count. We have, I think we're just shy of about 50 grand to do the personal upgrade. It costs 300 grand to do that. So let's actually just work on the customer cars for now. Let's start with, let's start with the 8-second version. Let's try to get a Ravix Talon all-wheel drive into the 8 seconds, and then we'll throw really good tires on it and see if we can make it that fast for the short track as well. So yeah, let's do that first. All right, stage 1 of the build is complete. We kind of did a very similar thing. We just threw on an ATR muffler, not the full exhaust system, just a muffler. We went with some Cup 2 tires, some Cup 2Rs, and then we went with a race stage 2 camshaft, which really brought in a lot of horsepower. We're up to 1,000, which is kind of a lot. But ultimately, I want this thing to be able to do an 8 and get around the track. Let's first do a little test trip in this parking lot to make sure the stock block can handle all this. I don't know if it really will. Here we go. This seems to hold it just fine, which is really surprising. Obviously, there's a lot of balancing that still needs to happen with all these parts. Javi's going to do that here pretty soon. But I'll take it. I think I did some stress testing on it before on a stock block, and we're right at that limit. I think it was just as you get into the thousands, it was just way too much for it. Let's go ahead and do a drag time, see if we can get an 8-second run. If we can, we're going to save this kit and then go right to the racetrack and apply it to the other vehicle and see how fast we can get around the track. All right, we're at the drag strip. We'll do a little burnout, turn off traction control. Here we go. Okay, very rear biased. I almost wonder, yeah, no, it should still be all-wheel drive. Let's go ahead and do it in first person. I like doing my drag racing and allow my racing in first person. Here we go. Okay, gearing is still really short. A little wobbly as we really apply the power. What's that, a 9.9, okay. Not bad. Well, 1,000 horsepower, we can do a lot better. Honestly, we gotta, I think I'm gonna go back and change the final drive. I could just start skipping gears and still get better times, but I'm not trying to, I want this 8 to not be at its limit. I want it to comfortably do an 8. So let's go adjust our final drive, lengthen that a bit, and then get right back to the drag strip. All right, pulling up to the line, we put the biggest gear we could. I don't want to do a race final gear just because I don't like sometimes changing my final drive ratio on a slider. So went ahead with the tallest gears we could do, which is a 345. And because of that, we're just going to launch out a second. So we get lined up here. Now we do have 2-step that we can adjust. I don't want to go off the chip, but I do want to turn this up a little bit. So maybe we go with a nice 5,000 RPM. It's pretty aggressive. It is all-wheel drive on some really good tires. Make sure that's activated. A little check. Okay, let's get lined up. Kind of hard to find the engagement point. There we go. Okay, really good data there. One, man, this, I know we're going to redo this gauge cluster at some point. Not redo, but it needs to make some, we need some adjustments to it. It's going to get an update. I keep getting confused by the red line and thinking that it's all the way at 8,000. We'll make that somehow dynamic, I'm sure. But I accidentally left in first. However, it also did bog really bad. So I'm thinking leaving in second won't be a good idea. In fact, if I go ahead and try to launch off of no prep here, in the same way in second, I'm curious on how it's going to respond. Kind of just sits in place and spins, which isn't a great sign. What if I can slip it a little bit? What if off the chip? If I slip it a little bit? Nah, it's just going to hurt the clutch. We're gonna have to make a lot more power, to be honest. 8s is really fast. Maybe we can throw nitrous at it. If we put nitrous towards it, though, we're gonna need a new block for sure. So let's go spend some more money. That's okay. We saw what I can do with about 10 grand worth of work. You know, a 9, that was respectable. It could have been a lot better. Let's go ahead and really try to get those 8s by spending another 10 to, hopefully only another $10,000 to $15,000. All right, this might be it. We went ahead and added some nitrous, a 250 shot, and honestly, horsepower rating wise, I don't know if that's really going to be enough. Other than that, that's I think the only change I made. So we still got to figure out how to get off the line better, and let's just make sure this actually can hold the nitrous. Go ahead and arm it. It's only going to be in third gear, so let me get a run up from the other side. No, we don't run out of room here. Go ahead and turn off the ESC. Make sure it can hold the tires can hold the power as the nitrous comes in. I don't know why our nitrous isn't arming. Oh, that's mapping to the ESC somehow. Okay, we're having some nitrous issues. We're gonna, I guess, not run nitrous. We're gonna have to run more power. Obviously, a lot of the aftermarket parts really aren't built yet for the Ravix. I mean, the factory stuff isn't even finished. So let's take that back. That was a dud. Let's take off the nitrous. We could do some race tab. We could put a different cam in it. Ultimately, though, we gotta get some more power out of this. All right, I think this is the one. So, nitrous wasn't working, so we went with a forged block. We went with a race tab E85 system. We're up to almost 1,500 horsepower. I think this should work. The only issue we might have is the clutch overheating from the, well, to be honest, from the injection system. Don't ask me how that makes sense, because it doesn't. That's just the way some things are. It needs to be, race tab really needs to get tuned again, but ultimately I kind of want to pivot to a whole new idea. Another thing I found is when we changed our final drive, we actually only changed one of them, either the front or the rear. So one of the final drives still had a 434 in it. So now that we're all equally, you know, matched here in the final drive department, we should see some changes. Hopefully it launches a little bit better out of first. In fact, I should probably do a little practice launch here. We'll go off the, just like a little limiter. Oh, here we go. I think that's going to be better. Second gear is still a very sporty transmission, but I think we're going to have to try to make this work. And hopefully at the very least, at the big end, we'll make a lot more power. You know, let's line up on the left side. We never run the left side. Here we go. First gear. Getting staged here. Actually, I'm going to turn up two-step. Fortunately, it doesn't show up for me unless I'm out of here. Let's go for a 4,000 RPM launch. There we go. Get creeped in here. There we go. A lot of tire smoke. That's clutch. A lot of clutch lost there, but we ran an 8.4. Man, I wish we weren't blowing through the clutch. I don't know why the injection system sometimes does that. It kind of depends on the car. Basically, it's weird. You tell the Lua to, hey, add more power, and then it's also gonna, you know, somehow slip the clutch. I don't understand it. You gotta like add clutch torque to it with it. Either way, let's gosh, I don't know. Let's run that. I don't want to run it again and just burn up the clutch. Could take some power out of it, see if it does a little bit better. But ultimately, that 8 is proving to be really difficult. And I don't know. We could try a different cam. We're doing race cams right now. Maybe we go. You know, let's put a drag cam in it. See if that will do it. All right, this will have to be the last attempt for the video. Whoa, listen to that chop. Haha, that's pretty cool. So we put a drag cam in it, drag stage 3. This is effectively the most power I can make out of just pure, I don't know, pure motor, naturally aspirated. E85 is just too much for the clutch. If we kept a DCT in it, it would probably be okay. But other than that, I mean, unless we fix the nitrous system on the car and add a proper nitrous, we're out of power. This is going to be the best we can do. It's going to come down to driver skill. I did put a race adjustable final drive, which honestly, I didn't even tune it. All right, we are here. Made a few adjustments. Got the final drive working. We actually raised the RPM because, or the idle RPM, because when we were cam chopping, our spoiler was chopping as well, so it was just kind of too low. I guess the spoiler thought we were turning off, so raised it a little bit. We're not having that issue anymore. Well, it doesn't sound as good, I would say. And then, yeah, we are all tuned up, ready to go. 8,000 RPM limits, drag stage 3 cam. I just slightly adjusted tire pressure if that tune actually stuck. Sometimes the tuning really has issues. Let's go ahead and launch at, oh, I don't know. I kind of want to launch off the chip, to be honest. Like, why not? Let's go 4,000. We'll see how that goes. I'm getting tired of working on this car, I'm not gonna lie, but that, you know, we might be right close to that breakthrough. So here we go. Get lined up. Car shaking because tires are not round. BeamNG is not a thing. Although I wish they were more round. All right, we're almost there. 2 steps should be on. Get staged. Creep in. Here we go. I think it definitely needs a chip launch. Yeah, that was a 9.1. That's a bummer. Okay, so it's off the chip. That's our best option here. Let's run it back.
2 seconds later.
No. Lock it up. Oh man. Oh. I gotta pull over. What a save. All I could think during that was, this is the customer car and there's no going back if we break that. Oh my gosh. Let's get it fired up. That was scary, but kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. I thought, you know what? Let me get out of the brake. Let it swoop around. That was so different on wheel. Oof. Okay. Well, we're here. A little spicier than we wanted. We go ahead and clear our ticket here. We're going off the chip. We're going full send. It seems like the engine kind of lays over a little bit after about 7,500 RPM. So I think we're going to short shift a bit. And other than that, just full send mode. Here we go. This is our last attempt. If not, we got to really think about what we're going to do here. I'm about to do some off-camera work. Here we go. That was quite the bog. That was pretty bad. 918 again. Not what we're looking for, man. I'm just worried about slipping the clutch and burning out the clutch, but we gotta let it kind of get out there before before it bogs like that. I'll try one more time slipping the clutch, but honestly, this customer might have to wait a long time before his their Ravix is done. All right, here we go, off the chip. I don't think that was very good. .919, it slowed down. Okay, well, we tried. We tried with this Ravix. It's tough to do an 8 with the current parts that are available. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast. Your 1100 horsepower, there's probably some work we could do. If it was a DCT, I'd feel more confident about that. Yeah, there's that high clutch temperature. That makes sense. We kind of smoked it a little bit there. Let's get back into our Ravix and do one last thing before this episode ends. That one more thing is going to be taking our drag covette over to Pepper Valley. So again, we just got finished filming the drag event, the drag and drive, and it was a lot of fun. And a little spoiler alert, if the episode hadn't come out, there is a top speed run portion for it. Oh, I forgot this doesn't have power steering. I threw that on afterwards. We'll just manhandle it. That's fine. So we're gonna do a top speed run, a proper top speed run. I want to see how fast I can get this. Oh man, this is tight. Oh, I'm gonna regret this decision. And ultimately, you know, we're gonna try not to wreck it because we're gonna be Pepper Valley without a garage, without a car or any kind of other car. We want to get this back in one piece, and so we'll see how it does on the salt, I guess, or the dirt. Oh gosh, the wheel kind of spazzed out. Oh, I'm gonna regret this so bad. Here we go. Let's head to Pepper Valley, see what kind of top speed we can get out of this. All right, finally made it to the salt flats. Let's get some runs in. I'm gonna have to do this in first person. It is really challenging to control at times. Yeah, air all the way up, I think. Actually, let's go down a little bit. A little bit like, yeah, I think that's pretty good. Outside check. I don't want any camber. There we go. I'll go and reset that camera. Okay, no nitrous. We're just gonna row through the gears, see what kind of speed. This is a long time. It takes a lot to get out here. It's a long drive, so I don't want to mess things up on the first rip. We're just gonna do, yeah, just keep it safe, keep it simple, see what we can do, learn from it, and then our second pass, we'll try a little harder. Here we go. Now, if you're wondering why I keep the beam box on the top, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's part of the car. It's part of the look. And that's a Lua error, so... Huh. That's, well, I think that's the end of this journey, sadly. Wow, what a letdown. Do I get a speed here? No. Nope. Okay. Well, it looks like we're going to revisit whatever broke there. I don't know if it's Pepper Valley or it's the career overhaul, but something is preventing the speed traps to work. You know, this happened to me in a recording, and now it's happening here, so I'm starting to think it's actually the map, because that's the only thing that's the same. We're just going to air out. Turn it off. And well, with that, thanks so much for watching. Next time we're gonna have to do something else. With that, thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.